There's one power, invisible, and you see it everywhere and every day. One power, indescribable, and you speak of it with every word you say. Mysterious until you know the truth. As simple as the love inside of you. We speak so many languages. We have different clothing, different colors, different names. Different is only dangerous. We forget that in the heart we're all the same. We'll remember once we close our eyes to see that such distances were never meant to be. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Baha'u'llah, angels' wings or heaven's door. It's Muhammad, it's your mind, it's your soul, it's your sign. It's the universe, it's music, Mother Earth or Father Time. But whatever name you give it, so what power can't you see? Whatever name you give it, it's the very air we breathe. It's the power of the love in you and me. It's the moment of creation. It's an everlasting peace. It's the freedom of forgiveness. It's the sweetness of release. It's the joy of inspiration. It's the sunshine on your face. It's the birthright of all nations. It's the boundlessness of space. It's the beauty of a baby, the serenity of sleep. It's the anger we abandon, for it's the love that's most deep. It's one power. It's one power. Yeah, it's what we are. One power. 7th house, and Jupiter aligns with Mars.
Then peace will guide the planets,
And love will steer the stars. This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. Age of Aquarius. 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 Harmony and understanding, sympathy and trust abounding. No more falsehoods or derisions, golden living dreams of visions,
mystic crystal revelation,
and the mind's true liberation. Aquarius, Aquarius.
when the moon is in the 7th house and Jupiter aligns with Mars,
Then peace will guide the planets, and love will steer the stars. This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. Age of Aquarius. Aquarius. Aquarius.
Hey there, people all around the world, men and women, boys and girls. The time has come to occupy. It's much too late to judge and cry. Think about a love revolution, and it's here again. And it's time to let the sun shine in. Come together and sing out strong. Let the sun shine. Let the sun shine in. The sun shine in. Let the sun shine. Let the sun shine in. The sun shine in. All around the world. Let the sun shine. Come together. Let the sun shine. Sunshine. The sun shine. Everybody sing. Let the sun shine. Open up your heart. Let the sun shine. Sunshine. The sun shine. Come together and sing out strong for a peaceful planet where we all belong. Replace all fears with love and grace. We are different shades of one human race. It's the place to chase. The revolution is here again. It's near again. The resolution will now begin for all to let the sun shine in.
How many ways can I be grateful? How many ways? Given the chance, I'm gonna tell you now. How many ways can I give thanks for the blessings I have known? I've got a list, and I will tell you how. Grateful for each breath awake, grateful for each step I take, grateful that I'm here to play my part. Grateful for the morning sun, grateful when the day is done, grateful that I have you in my heart. Grateful for this universe, for the better and the worse. Grateful that this world keeps spinning round. Grateful for my memories, grateful for my hopes and dreams, grateful for the blessings I have found. Give praises for all the gifts I have. Given the chance, I'm gonna shout out loud. Grateful for each breath awake, grateful for each step I take, grateful that I'm here to play my part. Grateful for the morning sun, grateful when the day is done, grateful that I have you in my heart. How many ways can I be grateful? How many ways? How many ways can I be grateful? How many ways? How many ways can I be grateful? How many ways? How many ways can I be grateful? How many ways? I'm grateful. How many ways can I be grateful? How many ways? I'm grateful. How many ways can I be grateful? How many ways? I'm grateful. How many ways?
Hello and welcome to the People of Diversity Sunday service. We are a multi-faith community and we believe that there are many paths to one divinity. So what does that mean for you sitting around watching the video later or perhaps for the first time? We have 10 different faith perspectives. We have 10 different musical artists of a positive persuasion. So we give each of those groups a single word topic at the beginning of a series, and they go into their repertoire of music or faith knowledge, and they come back with a talk or a couple of music videos. Becky and I say hello and goodbye, and Philip and his magical team put it together in a beautiful, seamless event, which you are experiencing now. www.peopleofdiversity.org is how you can connect to us and participate fully and completely in any way you feel led. Use the little donate button in the middle of the page. I think that's all I know.
We are on the topic of charity, and last week we had our Muslim representative Naran Sykes gave a wonderful talk, and her musical guest was Daniel Keppel.
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 Yes.
I said it. I've been saying it wrong. And Keppel, Daniel Keppel, and that was a really good service, very enjoyable. So, today, our Wiccan representative Oracle is speaking, and his musical guest is Victor Morgado. And then next week we have our shaman Jerry Nedesheim, and her musical guest is a new person from, he's a friend of Victor's and from Canada as well. And his name is Andrew Bentham Riley. So we're really looking forward to seeing what Andrew's
he's
gonna
stoked, he's very excited. It'll be fun.
Yeah, it'll be good. So, past services are available on the People of Diversity Facebook group, Facebook page. We also have our YouTube page up and running. So if you prefer YouTube, you can go there. We are immediately following the morning service from 11:45 until 12:15. We're doing our live Zoom deep dive. Oracle usually comes to that, so we'll be doing that, and we cut it off right at 12:15 so as to not eat into your Sunday. The link to that will be in the feed, and it's also on the screen usually, I'm assuming. Our second broadcast, a rebroadcast of the morning service, happens on Sunday evenings at 5:45, and you can watch again or send somebody back to send somebody that didn't see the morning service, and if you saw something that touched you, send them back and spread the love. So, you can get Facebook notifications so that it's real easy on Sunday. You just get a little ding notification on your feed, and you get that by joining the Facebook group or the Facebook page. Just ask to join, we let you in, and from then on it's just pushing the button. It's real easy. So.
That YouTube page that Becky mentioned, there is a new Church Today or a New Way Pod subscription on YouTube. It's neither one of those. It is People of Diversity with the logo with all the hands in a circle. Because there's a couple of different, there's old ones, but these are just the interfaith from the last 3.5 years on that YouTube page, and they're very organized and all in line. It's very nice.
Each week we bless a country, so if you know anything, have any personal stories, pictures, ideas, whatever, fun facts, not fun facts, whatever, about the country that we're blessing next week, send them to the email address below. Next week we are doing Iraq.
Ooh.
This week we are doing Iran. Iran is located at the crossroads of Central Asia, South Asia, and the Middle East. It's slightly smaller than Alaska and has 86,600,000 people. They are 99.6% Muslim. Iran was known as Persia until 1935. Most parts of Iran are considered to be desert. The summers are brutally hot and the winters are freezing cold. That doesn't sound too attractive. Iran holds 10% of the world's oil reserves. It's second in natural gas holdings and fourth in crude oil reserves. I think that brings on a lot of their problems. The 3 wise men from Jesus' birth story in the Bible came from Iran. I never knew that. Persian rugs have been around for more than 2,500 years. And weavers purposely make mistakes in Persian rugs because only God is perfect. How cool is that? I found this one really interesting. 65% of the university students in Iran are women. It's very common for Iranian women to get a degree in higher education. I think that's one of those things that we just don't, we assume we know something about a place, and that was very surprising. I thought that's really cool. And here, this last one's a good one too. If you're going to get a marriage license, the couple is required to take a contraception class before they can get their license. That sounds like a brilliant idea to me, doesn't it? Okay, so learn some things about Iran that I certainly didn't know. So let's hold the people of Iran in our hearts, knowing there are people just like we are, knowing they want the same things in their lives that we do. We wish them peace, we wish them abundance, we wish them happiness, safety. We hold them in our hearts and we say these words together. May peace prevail in Iran, may peace prevail on earth, may peace prevail in me.
Did we say it right? Iran or Iran?
Or Iran, there's all kinds of ways. Iran.
Yes, I believe in the World Cup they corrected the young man, so I wanted to say it right.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So, Victor Morgado, one of my dear friends from decades ago in Canada. We worked together at a place called The Keg. And I'll be honest with you, I am not a proficient singer. And I would not sing Happy Birthday to My Tables without Victor being there. I would wait, I would stretch it out till he had a chance to be there with us. That being said, you will love what he brings to us. He has an amazing voice. Thank you, Victor, for joining us and being a part of what we're doing here, and for finding Andrew. And then Oracle has been with us from the very beginning. He did our spring equinox celebration that kind of brought us into the multi-faith process. And he always comes with deep wisdom and a little piece of his heart. So without further ado, we'll see you on the other side.
Can't give you the moon, can't give you the stars. I'll be a fool if I promise you Mars. If I could borrow some of my yesterday, give you tomorrow, but I can't give you today. All the gold in the world won't matter at the end of the day. Only thing I have that is real is the love I'll give you today. And as we wake the light of the dawn, all that we see will one day be gone. Darling, you know, won't matter anyway, but when I go, I know I gave you today. All the gold in the world won't matter at the end of the day. The only thing I have that is real is the love I'll give you today. We'll take it one day at a time, 24 hours, finish line. Then we'll start our love all over again. Can't give you gifts like diamonds and furs. Can't give you rides and cars with chauffeurs. But I promise you this, you'll always say, he gave me his word, he gave me today. All the gold in the world won't matter at the end of the day. Only thing I have that is real is a love I'll give you today. Can't give you the moon, can't give you the stars. I'd be a fool if I promised you Mars. And if I could borrow some of my yesterday, I'd give you tomorrow, but I can't, so I'll give you today. Sometime in our lives, we all have pain, we all have sorrow. But if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong, be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long. I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Please swallow your pride if I think you need to walk home. No one can fill those are your needs that you won't let show. Just call on me, brother. You need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. This might have a problem. You'll understand.
How are you today? Good morning. My name is Oracle Hecatios. I am a witch, Wiccan. That is, I am a witch high priest as well in the area. Um, I am a high priest in several traditions of the craft. I'd like to thank Becky and Scott for hosting me. I'd like to thank People of Diversity for this wonderful interfaith ministry, first of all, second of all. And third of all, I'd like to thank Philip and his team for their wonderful patience working together with me this week. There was a lot of issues going on my end, but electronic wise, but I want to thank them so much. And I'd like to thank also our musical guests for just getting us into the mode, into the right action, the right mindset for today's talk on charity. So without further ado, I'd like to start. Thank you for opening up your home, by the way, and opening up your hearts to this talk. Again, my name is Oracle. What I'm about to talk about today may or may not be shared by many other witches, and that's perfectly fine. We can debate around the cauldron into the witching hour, and that usually does happen, and that's wonderful. Great debates, great in-depth discussion. But I would like to discuss the concept of charity from my point of view and from my experiences and from my knowledge, if that's all right. So here we go. Charity. What is charity? What do we mean by charity? There's been so many wonderful, there's been a few great definitions. And to me, I'm just going to go off here and I'm probably going to agree with some, but I mean, or disagree with some or agree with some. But charity for me, modern definition of charity, has been, I think, dismissed as merely a word that places the marginalized in a certain setting on the edge of society. And we even use the words charity case sometimes, disparagingly. So we talk about charity cases. We talk about, showing charity specifically to people who aren't able to care for themselves. Welfare. We align these with socialist ideas or, in times of yore, communist ideas. I'm not going to get into the politics of that. Just touching on that for historic reasons. And the marginalized suffer. They suffer because in the midst of all the political debates, in the end, they need money. They need help. They need financial help. They need medical help. They need social help, mental health, everything. So they're caught up. One of the things that I think is important to realize is that we as a people, as a society, can often get away when we have means that we consistently ignore the needy and the downtrodden. And even the word philanthropy has become tossed around as a way of the rich to get bonus points that they are now givers. Oh, I'm a philanthropist. I'm a philanthropist. This word has lost its meaning, much as charity has lost its meaning over the thousands of years. I'd like to start with saying that in ancient times, and even going back to Babylonia, possibly Sumer, but we know in Babylonia there was a law code that said that the weakest of society needed to be taken care of. It was the job of the state, the job of the people, to care for the widowed and the orphans, to care for the elderly that could not care for themselves, because these were the bedrocks of civilization. How? The elderly were the past, and they would soon become the ancestors that would come before society and testify about the goodness or ill will of those alive and either haunt them or bring ill will, misfortune upon society, or what have you. I mean, the dead were considered very powerful, influential once they crossed over. Children are legacy, they are the future. Cue Whitney Houston, not really. They are the future. They progressed forward. And so, because they progressed forward, they continue to have so much of what was happening. And so burdens were laid both on the elderly and the children. And so the elderly, the widowed, the orphans, the poor, if you were homeless, which most likely you were if you were elderly or a child. In those days, if you were well to do, or if you were around in your 20s, 30s, or 40s, you were considered to be able to find something, a skill or a trade or something that would help you along the way. And if not, you traveled and you found something or other. You were a traveler. You were you tried to become a merchant or something. That would, you paved your own way. That's just how things were. Keeping it all intact. As much as Babylon did this, it turned over later on. And in ancient Greece, we have the coinage of the word philanthropy, filio anthropos. Phil or filio, philos, comes to us and means familial love, family love. There were different words for different kinds of love, expressions of what love is. Say in English, we just say, I love you, just like we say the word, I love Snickers, I love you, I love my mom, I love my dad, I love my girlfriend. But we mean love differently depending on the context, but you kind of have to understand the context as far as what's going on. But in Greek, there are different words for different love, so that way, but they're all translated in English as love, but they all mean something different. So there's eros, erotic love, there's philios or familial love, and so forth. So there's different words, and we think of philos very easily in the name Philadelphia, for example, the city of brotherly love. And where there is shown a lot of respect and a lot of equality in that was to emulate the church in Philadelphia in the book of Revelations. And so the city that was named after it was considered to be a place that would emulate that specific church, that specific city in that church in that city of Philadelphia, the Church of Philadelphia. Just a little historic tidbit. So right afterwards, filio anthropos. Filio was familial love, the love of that you could feel a bond between you and your family members, which was very intense because you had your clan, your demos, your clan, and you had your family and you had your tribe. So, we're talking about very close ties, very close bonds here, of blood that ran through your veins and weren't just taken for granted. But then, of course, you had the word anthropos, which meant human, man, mortal kind, humankind. And by filio anthropos, you meant the love of humanity, the love of humanity. And so when there was that brotherly bond of humanity, we're not just talking about some rich person coming along donating money to cameras and being like, yes, look at me. No, we are talking about someone actually connected to the community who is actually giving and supporting, and the goal is to support civilization. Because to the Athenians as well, just like the Babylonians, when you supported the the the, the downtrodden, the marginal of society, they were your weakest link. They were still part of the link of the chain of society, and it was it, if you did this, it was a social obligation to the Greeks to preserve freedom and democracy was necessary in order to understand people. Democracy is ruled by people, obviously, ruled by the people, but how could the people rule if all of them weren't taken care of? What people? Who people? Which people? Every people. Equality, freedom, democracy. Now, yes, I know slaves were part of that society, unfortunately. So, yes, there was hypocrisy going on there as well. And, that's inexcusable. But for the most part, what we're talking about here is the notion, the beginning of philioanthropos, the love of humanity. And even many Greek philosophers were saying, this is wrong on the slave part, because if we're saying we're going to love humanity, then we need to start thinking about some of these things that we're doing and realize that we have humans existing that are doing the labor while we're free to just contemplate the universe, and that's not fair. Everyone deserves equality. Everyone deserves equity. Everyone deserves justice. Equality, equity, and justice is what it was about. Equality, equity, and justice. So then fast forward to the Romans. The Romans emulated the Greeks very much so, and to the point where many people today think that the Greek gods and Roman gods are the same when they're not. And so, but it's confusing. But the Romans emulated the Greeks so much because they fell in love with their civilization and they thought they were, the peak and beauty and honor and all this other stuff. So what they did was they took the idea of philioanthropos and they translated to the Latin humanitas, humanities. And humanitas was to be human. Again, to be human. We're talking about being human, having human traits, and accepting that. You're accepting the humanity in each individual. You're accepting their strengths, you're accepting their weaknesses, and yet you're still willing to give charity to them. You're still willing to look beyond and say, you need help, and I'm here to help you. This gives us pause because many of you, and I have been guilty of this as well, many of us judge people who need help, especially when they come to you on the street saying, do you have any cash? And I'm not here to judge you whether you do or not. I'm just saying that moving forward for a long time now, I have given cash. I don't judge. People are absent of mental health care. They are absent of actual care. Sometimes homes, they just don't do it. You can put them in a home, you can call a home, you can put them in a shelter, you can call a shelter. But the truth is that shelters only last maybe if they have a bed, maybe 24 hours, and that's it, and then they're back out in the street. Nothing works. Nothing works. So these people are abandoned. They need help, and we need to do better. If you see somebody on the street, don't be afraid. Trust your intuition. If you feel Like, I'm just gonna say, feel like you don't trust the person, you don't want to give, I'm not gonna tell you whether to give or not. Just don't give. Be safe, please. Safety first. But if you feel in your heart, you're like, you know what, I do want to give, but I'm afraid this person may spend it for alcohol. That's between you and your divine. But honestly, some of us are one paycheck away from being in that position, have been in the position, are in that position, and minus meds, beer may be the only thing in that moment that we can honestly use to sedate ourselves to go to sleep at night. I'm going to be honest. I'm just speaking truth here. I'm just being bold about it. You know, addiction is not pretty. It's not pretty, but until our health system comes back up to a level that is that is able to meet the demands of people, until we are able to fight for it, as much as we fight for other rights, we will continue to see failure on the streets, and that's just a fact. It's just a fact. So I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not here to preach. I'm just here to tell. So some people say preach or tell. Really? Just leave it at that. I feel in my heart that sometimes, and this was something about charity, that when you gave, you don't know whether or not the person you were giving to was a guise of the gods. You don't know. Or in modern day, angels. There is a scripture that says, beware, you may not know if you're entertaining angels unaware. Certainly, hospitality of strangers was huge in the ancient world. Huge, huge. We're talking about the ability of somebody who has means taking in somebody who does not have means temporarily and feeding them, making sure they're clothed, making sure they're washed, making sure their cup doesn't stop running over. And so this idea of sacred hospitality, this notion that there is this connection between the host and the guest, is called, in ancient Greek, it's called xenia, 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 roughly translates hospitality, but it was a sacred guest host relationship. It was sacred kinship. It's how merchants and travelers survived back in the day. It's how many people survived. It was sacred. It it was it is considered still in many places around the world, anathema, a curse upon the gods, a curse upon the person if they violate that xenia, if they violate that hospitality social code, that social rule, that social obligation, because you don't know who you're entertaining, you don't know what's going on. And any guest that violates that rule also is considered an outcast automatically. Such is the case. And so I treat everybody, I work hard to treat everybody as if they could be a manifestation, a theophany of the gods, an appearance of the gods. You don't know. This is what I believe. You don't know. And I don't, and even if they're not actual gods, there's still the divine within them. There's still the divine. And I'm going to be also honest with you and tell you that I almost was homeless several times. My money, my job went straight to my rent and my utilities. I suffered a lot, and I did not, if it wasn't for local organizations um, that had food and a couple times able to pay my light bill and my electric bill, and also a couple of organizations that helped me with food and with hygiene products. I don't know where I would have been. I'll be honest with you. I don't know where I would have been, because it was maddening. It was hard. It was very harsh, And so a lot of us, we need that kind of help. We need that kind of mainstay. And there's no shame in asking for help. There's no shame in receiving. There's no shame in saying thank you. Thank you. And there's no shame in saying, do you need help? Yes. There's no shame in saying the word yes. We are so used to saying the word no that we need to learn how to say yes sometimes. Because saying yes and saying thank you are ways that we can show humility and say, look, I'm not proud. I have my honor intact. My honor, my humility are there, and they are both ways I can show that I'm taking care of myself and I'm taking care of those that I love as well. If you have loved ones with you, don't sacrifice your pride for others. Don't sacrifice your pride for yourself, your haughtiness, false pride, your haughtiness for that, your arrogance, because that's going to come back. It's going to come back and bite you. So don't do that. Learn to receive, learn to say yes, learn to say thank you, and just go with that. Now, I am an active priest of the goddess Hecate. The goddess Hecate, my last name is Hecatios. There is a link. The goddess Hecate is a goddess of the crossroads. That is a four-way intersection or three-way, a Y-shaped cross intersection. She is a goddess of the crossroads. She is a goddess of the moon, of nighttime, of land, sea, and sky. She's goddess of witchcraft, and many other things, the underworld. So in this plethora of epithets that she carries with her, many people on the dark moon, where the moon is not showing at all, just before the new moon, when the first sliver of the moon is in the sky, night sky, the dark moon was sacred to her because it was the end of the moon, the month, the lunar cycle, the end of the moon. And because of that, it finally came down to, people gave offerings at crossroads. They gave offerings of honey, milk, wine, garlic, leek, mushrooms, eggs, pomegranates. They gave like a feast. People would of well means would do that. And we don't really have enough evidence of this, but it was said that people who were poor would come and take the food and make food at home and eat. So today, many people, many Hecateans, will give money to local organizations, local charities, local places that help people directly rather than the larger ones where you don't know where your money's going. Um, you know, women's shelters are local women's shelters, local bread sharing, food sharing organizations, whether county or city, local shelters, what have you. So, investigate, do your research, but make it a habit of giving, make it a habit of blessing others, not just because it's this time of the year, but because, and not because it's December. Make it a habit because we should be grateful all the time, because charity is something we give all the time. Charity is under the protection of the three Carites, the Carites, the goddesses of love, fertility, abundance, rest, relaxation, mirth, renewal, good things in life, everything good about life. Whenever you have a joyous feeling and you're really, really happy, that's the Carites. That's the blessing of the Carites. Whatever it is, whatever joy you're reveling in, that is permanent, not just a happy moment, but a joyous moment. That's the Carites. When you're resting and relaxing because of joy, that's the Carites. When you are laughing and having a great time, that's the Carites. So charity is their sacred sphere. So I encourage you to do it as worship, to act on it as worship if you so believe. If you don't, then just do it as an act of, I acknowledge the divinity in you, you acknowledge the divinity in me. I do this as an act of acknowledgement for you, that you are sovereign, but that I realize that you are me and I am you. We are all not that far away from being in that position where we need charity. All of us at some point in our lives have needed it, are needing it, or will need it. And that's just a fact. So please give and please receive gladly in all things. I want to thank you for joining me. I want to thank you for opening up your hearts and your homes. I want to thank you for listening in. I want to thank Becky and Scott. I want to thank People of Diversity, our musical guests, Philip and his team. May the blessings of the gods and the great goddess and the horn god bless all of you now. Merry meet, merry part, and merry meet again. Thank you.
Thank you, Victor. Awesome as always. We appreciate you so much. And Oracle, we just love you dearly. You always bring so much, so many smarts. Definitely one of the smartest people I know in the entire universe. But he combines that with a big piece of heart, just like Scott said. So thank you so much, both of you, for putting together a really nice service. Philip and team, thank you guys very much, men and women, and you always do a great job, and I know a lot of times it's not easy, so we really do appreciate you. If you're out there in the world and you have these kinds of technical needs, virtual or in person, you can get hold of Philip and his team, and they will help you out. So, don't forget, we have the deep dive at 11:45 until 12:15 following the morning service, and then 5:45 Sunday evening we will rebroadcast the morning service, so you can watch that again. A lot of times we get right on there and watch it a second time, or you can send somebody else back to watch. And then that's the service that will be posted to the top of the Facebook group and the Facebook page, so you can go back during the week as well and just get on there and watch that then. Next week, our good friend shaman Jerry Nedesheim will be our speaker, and we will get to hear our newest musician friend, Andrew Bentham Riley. So, that's it.
That's all you know?
That's all I got.
All right. The pod runs obviously on tithes, www.peopleofdiversity.org. If you don't like the word tithe, donation. If you don't like the word donation, offering. Whatever word works for you, fall under that and move as you are directed by spirit or by your heart. Everybody gets paid. The musicians, the artists, the tech folk.
We don't get paid.
No.
Well, you said everybody. I just wanted to make sure there wasn't any mistaking in on that.
There was clarity there.
Yes.
We could grow it, so we could, but not yet.
Okay.
So let's take just a moment now and acknowledge that and say thank you. So if you'll set your feet on the ground, close your eyes, take a nice deep breath. Spirit, thank you for this community. Thank you for these offerings. Thank you for the energy and love that is sent to the pod and sent out from the pod. Thank you for the knowledge and wisdom that comes from here and fills people on their journey. And together we say, Amen.
Amen.
So, before we head down the road and dive back into the craziness of our universe, let's just take a moment and bring to our mind's eye anyone in our world who might need loving support, healing, just to know that they're not alone. And let's also include in there our world leaders so that they can make clear, good, positive decisions that affect the planet in a really good way. So if you'll bring all those people into the center and we'll listen to this song together, open up and put yourself in the circle too and receive. We'll see you next week. Have an amazing, amazing week.
One power, one power, one power, one power, one power, one power. There's one power invisible, and you see it everywhere and every day. One power indescribable, and you speak of it with every word you say. Mysterious until you know the truth, as simple as the love inside of you. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Baha'u'llah, angels' wings or heaven's door. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? It's the power